Good day, folks. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. We're going to be traveling through Pierceton, Indiana today. So welcome to another video. Now, Pierceton, Indiana is a small town that has been named after the 14th American president, President Franklin Pierce. And this town was incorporated into a town in 1866. Now, Pierston is located 33 miles northwest of Fort Wayne and 56 miles southeast of South Bend. So as far as your metro areas, the closest to here, obviously the closest is going to be Fort Wayne. But South Bend is also within an hour too. And for those of you that are new to the channel, when I do videos of small towns, small cities, I like to mention metro areas that are within an hour. That way, in the event that you move to one of these kind of type of communities and you're like me, you still work a 9-to-5 storefront type of job, you at least have an idea of where you can go to find work. Now, of course, you have Warsaw, that's only 8.5 miles southeast of here. You got Warsaw. And most likely, that's where you're going to be going when it comes to many of your basic amenities. And for some of you, that's where you're going to probably end up driving to when it comes to employment. Because Warsaw's got a few jobs. I mean, not as many as the metros, but they got a few. So those are going to be the three places where most people that live around here are going to go, either for amenities or for employment. And of course, you got other small towns that are not super far from here, where sometimes you can go and find work, depending on what type of work you do. Now, the population here is 928 people currently, and this town has lost 8.6% of its population as of the 2020 census. Now, back during 2010, the population was sitting at a little over 1,000 people. It was at 1,015 people. And during 2010, the population actually grew by 46%. But then again, back in 2000, the population was 695 people, and the population declined by 32.5%. And this town has been losing people steadily from the 1970 to the 2000 census. Then they gained that 46% in 2010, and now it's back to losing people again in 2020. Now, for those of you that are looking at living in a small town here in northern Indiana, maybe you're looking at Pierceton because you like how it's located conveniently between Fort Wayne and South Bend. Now, there's some people that will not move to a town like this because of the population decline. Now, I don't think I ever really explained this before, so I'm going to explain it now. Now, when it comes to super small communities like this, communities to where you have just barely over 1,000 people or less, like when you look at places like this losing 30, some percent of his people, 20% of his people. I mean, at first glance, those numbers can be a bit depressing because they're thinking, okay, well, if they're losing all those people, it must be a crappy place to live. And sometimes, yeah, that could be very well be that could be that can't even talk. That could very well be the case. But one thing which I'm noticing more and more as I do videos like this across the country is that is not always the case, especially here in Indiana. Now, obviously, if you're okay with living in a part of the country to where it does get cold, and typically you will get a considerable amount of snow. Now, if you're okay with those facts, if you're okay with just typical northern Indiana weather, I'll just put it like that, then I would say Pierston could be a good place for you to reside if you're looking to live in small town northern Indiana. I mean, don't let the population numbers deter you from moving here, because the thing is, I'm gonna give you guys an example. Like, you see, back in 2010, the population was 1,015 people. Now it's 928 people. So let me do some math in my head real quick. I mean, basically, 87 people, for whatever reason, have decided to leave this town. 87 people. Now, in my humble opinion, in the scheme of things, 87 people is not that many people. Now, percentage-wise, for a community this small, 87 people does make a substantial difference in the population numbers. And I would say in communities like this, a lot of younger people might leave because maybe they're looking to live somewhere where they're a little closer to employment opportunities. They don't want to drive that half hour or so into Fort Wayne for work. And they might prefer to be right there, like their job is like right there. Like all they gotta do is get up and walk around the corner and they're at their job. And there's more and more people, for people that got a little bit of money, many of those people are most likely moving closer into the city core for work. That way they don't have to spend as much money on gas and wear and tear on their car driving to work every day. Now, me personally, do I like spending that kind of money driving to work every day? No. But in my humble opinion, I think the money that I spend on transportation is real worth it because of where I'll get to live at the end of the day. I figure when I get home from work, it's home, it's quiet, it's peaceful, it's low key. I'm not going to have to deal with any hustle and bustle. And I think that's worth the money that I pay for transportation. But you got other people that, they ain't feeling it like that. They rather go ahead and, they rather go ahead and pay the extra money for housing if they have it, and then just live closer to their jobs. So that's what you got to understand about the population decline in smaller communities. You got to understand, why it is people are leaving some of these small towns, and the reasoning is not going to always be the same. And you also got to understand, if 30 to 40 people move at any given time, it could have a large effect on the population numbers when it comes time for them to collect the census data. So hopefully I'm making sense and you guys understand where I come from when it comes to the population of smaller towns like this. So Yeah, don't let the population decline. If you see that the population decline is in the double digits, don't let that deter you. Because in most cases, less than 100 people have left the community. And when they did leave, they left for reasons that have nothing to do with how bad the community is. It's more so that they just wanted to be closer to entertainment. They wanted to be closer to their employment. And those are the reasons why many people leave communities like this. Now, the racial demographics here are going to be 96.4% white, 1.3% Asian, and 2.3% Hispanic. And if you're looking to reside here, your median rent prices are going to go from $660 to $1,330 a month. Now, if you look up the median home price out here, it's going to list $136,000. It's going to list $136,500. But if you're looking to buy a house out here, in reality, you will find nothing that's available for sale for under $219,000. Now, the majority of the houses out here that are currently for sale are going to either be larger homes that sit on larger plots of land. Some of the homes are going to be out in the country a little bit. They're not even going to be here in the core of town. Or they're going to be newer houses, newer construction. So just bear those two things in mind when you look at the minimum price that you would have to pay at this point to buy a house out here. But yeah, I would say, Pierceton could be a good place to live. I mean, compared to other small towns here in northern Indiana, if you can find something out here, I would say the housing prices, at least right now, is a hairline cheaper compared to other small towns in northern Indiana. But it's probably not going to stay like that, though. I'm just guessing. So let's jump over to Nice, and we're going to see what other people think about this town. All right, now there's only been 3 reviews on Nice about this town. And most people, well, the 3 people that gave their reviews about this town, here's what they had to say. Now, this first review is a 4-star from April of 2022. Great town and people. Community comes together whenever something needs to be done. And the town celebrations are homey. Okay, this next review is a 5-star. This from January of 2021. Pierston is a very quiet small town. A great place to raise a family. We love that it's golf cart friendly and has a small town atmosphere. And me personally, I find that to be refreshing about towns like this. I mean, whenever it does warm up and the weather does get nice, you will see people out and about riding around in their golf carts. Like where I live right now in Indiana, I mean, when the weather does get nice, you do see more people out and about riding around in golf carts for whatever reason, which, I think that's kind of neat. And then this last review is another 5-star. It's from March of 2019. I have moved to this town for a better lifestyle. and so far it has been the best thing my family has done. There are many ways to get involved in town activities in Pierston. For an example, the parade that happened a while back, almost the whole town was there and they were very friendly. And again, that's another good thing about living in small towns. I mean, typically speaking, in many of your small towns, your people are a little bit more friendlier. And also your neighborhoods are more neighborly. It's like right now, you have a lot of people that are dealing with squatters squatting in their homes in many of your larger cities, especially in your blue states. So to live in a smaller community like this, where the communities are a little closer knit, people have pride in their community, they care for each other. I mean, to me that's refreshing. And like I said before, I mean, I'm pretty sure for some of you, you don't really like people all up in your business asking you too many questions. You may feel some kind of way when you look up and you got a couple of your neighbors looking towards you. And I get it. But I'm the kind of person that, if given my options, I'd rather live in a community where people are doing that than to live in a community where people appear to be, they just don't care. And when you live in communities where people don't care, those are the communities that many of your home squatters are going to look to squat in, because the chances of them getting caught and getting confronted are going to be less. And I'm not a lawyer, so you might want to consult your lawyer with what I'm getting ready to say. But from my understanding, in many jurisdictions throughout the United States, a squatter has quote-unquote squatter rights after they've been in your home for at least a month. So my attitude is the best way you can avoid that issue is, if you go somewhere on a vacation, try not to be gone for any longer than a couple of weeks. If you gotta be gone longer than that, if you live in a community like this, I'm pretty sure it's not going to be too difficult to get a neighbor to kind of watch in on your house on a daily basis. And the second they see someone breaking in your home, they can pick up the phone, call law enforcement, and rather than that person having squatter rights, they'll have squatter rights in the city jail. And that's one thing I like about small town living. Now again, not all small towns are created equal. Some small towns suck, the people suck, and the people don't care about each other. Now there are small towns, unfortunately, that are like that. But I mean, this small town, just off of what I just read, people here seem to care, which is a good thing. So that's all I gotta say on my commentary. So hopefully you guys got something out of the commentary. If you like videos like this and you want to support the channel, all you need to do is to give videos like this a thumbs up, and go ahead while you're at it and subscribe to the channel. If you're already subscribed, make sure you're still subscribed, because sometimes YouTube has a tendency to unsubscribe people. Alright folks, stay blessed, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.